What is up, Packer fans? In this video, we're going to be talking about the Packers finding their secret weapon. I'm going to break that down for you guys in this video. Before I do, I wanted to take a second and apologize. I've been away for so long. I was visiting Massachusetts and Maine, New England Patriot country, but the history that is in Boston is really quite special. It was on my bucket list to visit Fenway Ballpark at some point in time. I was able to do that, and man, it did not disappoint. It is one of my favorite ballparks I've ever been to, Fenway Park. It was a weekday game. They packed that stadium out. The fans were loud. It was crazy. It was just a great atmosphere altogether. The outside of the park, the inside of the park. If you haven't been to Fenway, I highly suggest it. But while I was in Maine, I happened to run into a couple. I overheard their conversation of which Packer game they were going to go and see this season. It is on their list, and their names are Nikki and Gerard, longtime Packer fans. So a shout out to them. It is on their bucket list to go and visit every NFL stadium out there. But they shared what I found to be quite interesting and their experiences. They've gone and visited a lot of NFL stadiums out there. They gave me two of their favorite experiences and two of their least favorite experiences. But I want you guys to leave your comments. Let me know what has been your favorite experience and least favorite experience as a Packer fan going to a visiting stadium other than Lambeau Field. Of course, Lambeau Field is the most iconic, greatest experience out there for not just Packer fans, but a lot of fans that come and visit that stadium. It is just so great. The Packer fans are so welcoming. But their least favorite experiences, to not my surprise, was New England Patriots. They hated that game. They hated just the overall experience there with fans and everything surrounding that. Another not surprised to hear was Philadelphia Eagles. I don't need to say anything more about that one. And it's a couple of their greatest experiences that they've had out there was the Buffalo Bills as well as the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not surprised to hear that one. A similar makeup, blue collar type of team out there, similar to the Packers makeup. So leave your comments. Let me know least favorite and favorite experience as a Packer fan out there to a visiting stadium. So let's get into it. What's the Packers' secret weapon? I happen to see it's not really much of a secret because I happen to think it is a very obvious choice, but I think this dude is going to really be the secret to success for the Green Bay Packers, and that is Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is going to have a monster year. I really feel that, and that's contradictory to what this article has to say. It says Packer fans worst Josh Jacobs fears may come true. And this is Freddie Boston put it out with Lombardi Avenue News. He says, Packer fans, you may want to look away. So I go down into this article to see what he has to say. And it says Josh Jacobs' prediction could mean bad news for the Green Bay Packers in 2024. Really? We're going off of a prediction off of an ESPN's Mike Clay. Give me a break. So it says he's made some predictions out there for the 2024 season. He's predicted the stats of each player and NFL team out there, as well as win-loss predictions and more. He says Clay isn't expecting the bounce-back season Josh Jacobs and Packer fans need. He predicts Josh Jacobs to have 246 carries, which is more carries than Aaron Jones has ever had in Green Bay, for 971 yards, 7 touchdowns. I really don't see that quite as a disappointing season, just for the numbers. If you compare those numbers with Aaron Jones, we're going to take a look at those here in a second. Which he goes on to say that those numbers are slightly better than Josh Jacobs' 805 yards, 6 touchdowns last season with the Raiders. Needless to say, that's a long cry away from the 1653 yards, 12 touchdown campaign that earned him All-Pro honors in 2022. Is Josh Jacobs going to have another season like the 1653 yards? I highly doubt that. Would I be surprised? Would not be surprised at all. And the reason being is because they have a quarterback like Jordan Love. They have the weapons around Jordan Love that they do, which is going to open up things for Josh Jacobs in the run game, vice versa. When you've got a running back like Josh Jacobs, a guy who can go out there, he can break tackles, he can break ankles, he can move piles. We've seen him do that with the Raiders. And what Clay had to say when he started talking about and bashing his 805 yards last season, well, he didn't share the fact that the Raiders were just god awful last season. Their offense had changed, the coach had changed, all of that stuff he didn't mention in that article. That's going to be a recipe disaster for any good player out there. Josh Jacobs, when he is on firing on all cylinders, has proved that this dude is one of the best backs in the league. So when you start looking at Aaron Jones's numbers with the Packers, let's take a look at those here. So Aaron Jones, 81 attempts, 133 attempts, 236 attempts. That was in 2019. Those are the most attempts he had, and he had 1,000 yards rushing, which is pretty much on par with what he projects Josh Jacobs to have. So I really don't see that as a not successful season, especially when you got a guy like Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball for Aaron Jones and opening up the run game there. Again, you're going to have Jordan Love opening up the game for Josh Jacobs. And let's keep in mind that this is a much better offensive line than Josh Jacobs is used to seeing with the Raiders. This is a much better offense than Josh Jacobs is used to seeing with the Raiders. I think this dude is going to have a very big year. I really don't see him carrying the ball that much. He's very capable of it. I'm sure Matt LaFleur would love and welcome that. This has been, Matt LaFleur has really wanted the run game to open up things for the pass game. This dude has proved that he's capable to carry the ball 20 to 25 times out there. He can handle the workload. Whether or not Matt LaFleur relies on him to handle that workload or not, time is going to tell. But Josh Jacobs is going to have a big year, and I really think that. So Marshawn Lloyd, when you start taking a look at, Marshawn Lloyd. So Marshawn Lloyd is going to be a very good complementary piece to a guy like Josh Jacobs, and that is going to be able to give Josh Jacobs some rest that he may need. And then you got a guy like AJ Dillon. So the Green Bay Packers have, not a lack of talent there in the backfield. I think it's just only going to work in Josh Jacobs' favor. Let's keep in mind that when we start talking about what his contract looks like, yes, they did sign him to a 4-year, $48 million deal, but and he's going to make close to $15,000 if he were to play every game this season, in which he's got a $600,000 per game roster bonus built into that contract, which could earn him up to $15 million this season. So I don't see a world where Josh Jacobs is not going to be out there giving it his all. If he has a monster year, he knows he's going to have more longevity in the league. It's only going to mean more time in Green Bay for him. And the Packers, if he has, for whatever reason, if he has a bad season, the Packers are only going to be on the hook for $5.3 million, $5.3 million, which fifth day of the league year, they'll have to let him go if he doesn't have a successful 2024 season. I don't see a world where that happens. And let's keep in mind, if he does have a successful season, the Packers do retain him for another year, they're only going to be on the hook for $8 to $9 million max. And that's with building in those per game roster bonuses. Year two of Josh Jacobs, 4-year, $48 million deal. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a monster year, not just on the stat line, but when you start talking about, just stats aside, when you have a guy like Josh Jacobs out there on the field, defenses are gonna have to account for that, because the guy, again, has proved that he can break ankles, he can move piles. So that's just going to open up things for Jordan Love and company. I think this Packer offense is going to rely heavily on Josh Jacobs, and I think he's going to be the secret to their success, to not just make the playoffs, but go deep into the playoffs. Leave your comments. Let me know what you guys think about that, and favorite and least favorite experiences out there. And as always, go Pack, go.